Welcome to the list of brilliant ideas that aged like milk in the sun. 1. The brilliant plan to fix traffic by making cars crash. More. Someone in the 1970s genuinely believed that danger would make people safer. So a group of researchers proposed an idea: install a sharp metal spike in the center of every steering wheel. Their logic? If you knew that braking too late could turn your torso into human fondue, you'd instantly become the most cautious driver on Earth. No more speeding, no more reckless turns, just nationwide defensive driving powered by sheer terror. The plan was obviously rejected, not because it was insane, but because, shockingly, people didn't want to die for the sake of better merging etiquette. Turns out the best way to reduce accidents is not transforming cars into rolling medieval weapons. 2. The time humanity tried to stop a plague by killing all the cats. In the 14th century, Europe decided cats were tools of the devil. So the brilliant solution? Mass cat extermination. You don't have to be a biologist to guess what happened next. With the cats gone, the rat population skyrocketed. And rats, being the original influencers of biological disasters, were carrying fleas infected with the Black Death. So humans essentially held the door open, politely invited the plague inside, and offered it a couch. The result? Tens of millions dead, a continent in chaos, and a quiet, smug "I told you so" from every surviving cat who watched the whole thing unfold with judgmental eyes. 3. The invention that was supposed to save forests, but destroyed homes. Instead, plastic. Yes, plastic, humanity's favorite eternal material. It was originally invented to save elephants and forests. Truly. Early manufacturers needed a cheap replacement for ivory and wood, so plastic was marketed as the eco-friendly miracle that would protect nature. Fast forward a century, and this miracle has given us oceans full of floating garbage, microplastics in our food, our water, and probably our dreams. Dolphins are swimming through fields of plastic bags like they're auditioning for a dystopian nature documentary. The invention meant to protect the world ended up treating the planet like a storage closet it forgot to clean. 4. The genius who tried to stop dust storms by replacing grass with concrete. In the 1950s, a few urban planners had a revelation. If grass causes dust when it dries, why not just get rid of grass? Their solution? Concrete everything. Parks, playgrounds, empty lots, a gray paradise. They believed cities would be cleaner, less muddy, and easier to maintain. What they got instead were heat islands hot enough to saute an egg, children who scraped half their bodies off every time they tripped, and neighborhoods that looked like someone rage-quit nature. Instead of preventing dust storms, they created heat storms, pollution traps, and the kind of scenery that makes plants file missing person. Reports. Nothing says urban improvement like turning your city into a giant parking lot with trust issues. 5. The town that tried to fight crime. By turning streetlights. Blue One City decided crime rates were too high, and instead of investing in policing, infrastructure, or literally anything proven to work, they said, "Let's make the streetlights blue. Criminals hate blue." They did not. What actually happened? Blue lighting made neighborhoods look like crime was already happening, confused drivers, messed up visibility, and, best part, made injured people harder to spot because blue light hides blood. The crime rate didn't drop, the number of accidental injuries went up, and the entire town looked like it was trapped inside a low-budget sci-fi movie that didn't get renewed for season 2. On the bright side, mosquitoes apparently hated it, so at least someone was deterred. 6. When NASA tried to reduce costs and accidentally spent $193 million, NASA was trying to tidy up its finances, which is adorable considering they build machines meant to yeet themselves into space. During one mission, 2 engineering teams worked on different parts of a spacecraft. One team used imperial units, the other used metric. Nobody noticed, nobody checked, nobody said, "Hey, why does this thing weigh as much as a whale in your notes and a car in mine?" The spacecraft launched, misunderstood every command it received, got hopelessly confused, and finally crashed into Mars, a $193 million reminder that America still refuses to learn the metric system. The official post-mortem report basically said, "This could have been prevented if humans talked to each other." A truly timeless lesson. 7. The bird control strategy that created a bird explosion. In the 1950s, Chinese officials had a plan to increase grain production. Kill sparrows. They believed sparrows were eating too much crop. So the nation launched a coordinated campaign, banging pots, destroying nests, scaring birds until they literally died from exhaustion. For a few months, officials celebrated their victory, until insects exploded in population. With sparrows gone, locusts and pests flourished like they'd just been given VIP access to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Entire harvests were wiped out. Famine followed. Millions suffered. The solution to "sparrows eat grain" turned into "we made the famine worse." It's the global, historical version of seeing one spider in your house, burning it down, and then being shocked that you now have bigger problems. 8. The brilliant anti-flood plan that flooded even more. A coastal city once had a clever idea. If water keeps flooding our streets, let's just build higher streets. So they raised the roads, but not the buildings. The result? Every time it rained, all that water had nowhere to go except straight into ground floor homes, businesses, and unlucky basements. It was like the city invented reverse swimming pools for residents who didn't ask for them. People would open their front doors to find their living rooms had become instant aquariums. Meanwhile, officials proudly declared the project a success because the streets remained dry. Sure, the streets were dry. Everything else was Atlantis. 9. The farmer who tried to make bigger cows and built a cow catapult won. Enthusiastic farmer thought he'd discovered a shortcut to stronger livestock. If calves exercised more, they'd grow faster. So he invented a machine, a platform that lifted calves slightly into the air so they'd jump down, building muscle. What he really created was the world's first accidental cow launcher. The machine malfunctioned, sending calves hopping, tumbling, and occasionally flying like confused bovine gymnasts. Neighbors reported seeing cows lift off the ground in strange arcs. Instead of stronger calves, he got bruised animals, broken fences, and one very awkward discussion with the local agriculture board. Scientists later said, perhaps just feed them normally. Revolutionary. 10. The city that tried to reduce waste. By making trash pickup monthly. A local government wanted citizens to recycle more. Noble, their genius idea? Trash pickup only once a month. No weekly collection, no bi-weekly. Just one heroic truck rolling through town every 30 days like it's delivering hope. Instead of recycling rates rising, the city got mountains of rotting garbage, raccoon gangs patrolling the streets, smells that violated the Geneva Convention. People started storing trash in garages until those garages achieved sentience and tried to escape. When the council admitted the idea did not meet expectations, the entire town responded, "Really? You think?" Recycling went up, but only because people were throwing things directly into neighboring towns. 11. The man who tried to improve fire safety. By burning down a forest. One inventor in the early 1900s was obsessed with wildfire prevention. He theorized that a controlled fire would burn away dry brush and prevent bigger fires later. In theory, he was right. In practice, he was a disaster with a match. He ignored wind direction, lit the test fire in the wrong season, and accidentally created a blaze so massive it wiped out thousands of acres, including the fire station that had been built to stop fires just like his. When questioned, he said, "I may have miscalculated." Yes, by about 3 states. 12. The government that tried to solve a traffic problem. With explosives. Some countries build tunnels, others widen roads. Then there was the government that said, "Why don't we just blow up the mountain blocking the new highway?" They packed it with dynamite and detonated it, expecting a clean, convenient opening for cars. Instead, they created a landslide, a second landslide, and a third one because gravity refused to take a day off. The highway was buried for months, nearby villages were covered in dust, and the mountain, insulted by the attempt, simply collapsed harder. The project meant to speed up transportation ended up being the reason everyone had to take 5-hour detours. Explosives, great for action movies, terrible for infrastructure planning. 13. The town that tried to get rid of pigeons. By feeding them birth control. One European city was tired of pigeons decorating every statue with organic graffiti. So instead of nets or deterrents, officials said, "Let's give them birth control bread." Yes, they baked contraceptives into tiny biscuits and tossed them around town like they were hosting a feathery baby shower. The result? The pigeons loved the snacks so much they multiplied faster because the treats boosted their overall health. Instead of fewer birds, the city got fatter, healthier, aggressively romantic pigeons who now had the energy of caffeinated toddlers and zero respect for public monuments. They eventually scrapped the program after realizing they'd basically created a super breeding pigeon gym. 14. The software update that made every alarm clock angry. A tech company wanted to fix a small glitch in its digital clocks. The update was supposed to adjust daylight savings more accurately. Instead, it caused clocks to reset to midnight every time someone turned on a microwave. Morning routines collapsed, workers overslept, ovens became time travel portals. One guy woke up at 00 3 days straight and thought he was trapped in Groundhog Day. The company issued a patch, but only after customers had spent a week living in a world where your breakfast appliance decided when time existed. 15. The environmental plan that accidentally made water toxic. A region struggling with algae had a seemingly harmless idea. If algae needs sunlight, let's dye the lake darker so sunlight can't get in. They poured in a special eco-safe dye that was supposed to darken the water just enough to slow algae growth. Instead, it killed beneficial bacteria, disrupted fish habitats, and made the water so warm it became a microbial hot tub. The algae didn't die. Oh no. It thrived, mutating into a thick, slimy monster layer that could survive a nuclear winter. The lake went from a bit green to Shrek's bathtub after leg day, and cleanup crews had to spend months reversing the dye job like a failed hair salon appointment. 16. The city that tried to attract tourists with a giant fake volcano. A tourist town wanted excitement, something bold, cinematic, unforgettable. Their answer? A man-made volcano that erupted every hour. Smoke, lights, fake lava, the whole theme park package, except nobody considered wind direction. On launch day, the very first eruption blasted ash, soot, and red dye into nearby restaurants, hotels, and the mayor's freshly washed car. Tourists ran, locals screamed. A wedding photo shoot turned into a scene from Pompeii. Within 48 hours, the volcano was shut down, repainted, fenced off, and quietly described as an experimental art piece. The only thing it attracted was 3 lawsuits and a permanent smell of burnt rubber. 17. The scientist who tried to create cleaner energy and invented a portable explosion. One inventor dreamed of a cheap, safe fuel alternative for rural communities. His idea? A homemade device that mixed flammable gases, much stored under pressure, to power stoves and heaters. In a lab environment, it worked beautifully. Clean flame, low cost, efficient. But he didn't anticipate one tiny detail. Humans love shaking things. People carried the fuel canisters around, tossed them in carts, dropped them, and accidentally turned them into pressurized bombs. One fell off a truck, detonated like a Michael Bay audition tape, and sent goat farmers diving for cover. The invention was abandoned instantly. The official report politely stated, "The design fails when subjected to reality." 18. The park that tried to be eco-friendly and accidentally cooked everyone. A public park wanted to reduce electricity use by installing solar benches, seats with curved reflective panels that charged devices and looked futuristic. Great in theory, until summer arrived. Those shiny panels turned into giant magnifying glasses, concentrating sunlight directly onto whoever sat down. People didn't rest, they sizzled. Parents yanked children off benches like burnt marshmallows, and one poor guy got up with a t-shirt logo literally baked into his back like a reverse tattoo. The benches were removed in less than a week. Turns out renewable energy shouldn't mean renewable sunburns. 19. The jet lag cure that knocked out an entire soccer team. A sports doctor once proposed a revolutionary remedy for jet lag. Put players in a pitch-dark room for 24 hours to reset the brain's internal clock. So, a full professional team did just that. The result? They stumbled out looking like cave trolls dragged into daylight for the first time. Players were dizzy, disoriented, hungry, and one insisted he could hear colors. Their next match? A catastrophic 7-0 defeat that commentators politely described as energetically absent. Jet lag wasn't cured. They just upgraded to full disorientation mode. 20. The country that tried to fix power outages by cutting power voluntarily. A government facing energy shortages decided to get ahead of the crisis. Their brilliant solution scheduled nationwide blackouts to reduce surprise blackouts. They announced it proudly, like a parent bragging about pre-burning dinner to avoid burning dinner later. The result was predictable chaos. Elevators freezing mid-floor, hospitals scrambling for generators, refrigerators becoming biohazard experiments, and traffic lights causing intersection-wide philosophy debates on who has the right of way when everyone's confused. They solved nothing. They just made the outages punctual. 21. The Wildlife Project, that accidentally trained animals to mug tourists. A nature reserve wanted visitors to bond with local monkeys, so they encouraged small, supervised feedings. Cute, right? Within months, the monkeys learned that humans backfired snacks and began aggressively negotiating for food by stealing hats, phones, and entire sandwiches. They formed gangs. They ran coordinated distractions. One monkey held a family's map hostage until he was paid in grapes. Tourists loved it at first, until the monkeys figured out zippers, backpacks, and the human concept of pockets. The program was shut down after a single monkey walked off with a GoPro and filmed a 14-minute video titled Banana. 22. The Anti-Crime Program, that accidentally made everyone think crime was worse. A city launched a high-tech safety initiative with one goal: text alerts for every crime reported in real time. Transparency, awareness, community engagement. Within 48 hours, residents were convinced they were living in a post-apocalyptic thriller. Phones buzzed non-stop. Car broken into, bike stolen, loud argument on 3rd Street. Woman thinks raccoon looks suspicious. People barricaded doors, canceled plans, and one man tried to organize a neighborhood militia armed with garden tools. Crime didn't increase, just the notifications did. The program was quietly removed after citizens started panic buying canned food. 23. The subway that tried to improve air quality, with giant fans that spread everything. A transportation authority installed enormous industrial fans in underground tunnels to circulate fresher air. Wonderful. Except the fans didn't clean the air, they just moved it. So instead of reducing dust, they blasted it directly into waiting passengers like a high-speed exfoliation treatment no one asked for. People emerged from platforms looking like relics discovered in an archaeological dig, hair-whipped, clothes-coated. One tourist said he aged 10 years between stations. The fans were shut off after 12 days, leaving behind only the legend of the subway wind that could ruin any hairstyle in 0.3 seconds. Through 24. The city that tried to reduce noise, by installing music that drove everyone crazy. A European town decided to solve nightlife noise by blasting soft classical music through speakers in busy areas. The theory? Drunk people don't party to Mozart. The reality? People partied harder, waltzing, spinning, shouting, and attempting interpretive dance battles at 3 a.m. Tourists filmed it. Locals complained. A string quartet became the new unofficial party anthem. One street vendor said, "I've seen men fistfight to Beethoven." The city turned the music off after locals developed Pavlovian rage responses to violins. 25. The innovator who tried to make safer ladders and invented the fall multiplier. An engineer wanted to solve the age-old problem of ladder accidents. His solution? A ladder with spring-loaded stabilizers that adjusted automatically as you climbed. Except the springs were strong enough to launch the ladder like a startled grasshopper. Every step caused tiny bounces. Every bounce caused bigger bounces. Testers climbed 3 rungs and immediately abandoned dignity, pride, and gravity as the ladder pogo-sticked them across work sites like circus performers. The company pulled the product after one tester was gently propelled into a shrub and refused to come out. 26. The beach town that tried to stop erosion. By importing the wrong sand. A beautiful coastal town decided to protect its shoreline with imported sand. But instead of testing it, they bought the cheapest sand available, which turned out to be highly magnetic due to iron content. Within days, tourists' jewelry stuck to the beach like metal detectors had declared war. Kids buried toy cars that instantly snapped back to the surface like magnetic zombies. Phone compasses spun like fidget spinners in a hurricane. The beach became a physics experiment no one asked for, and cleanup crews had to scrape tons of metal-rich sand back off the coast like they were vacuuming the world's weirdest fridge door. 27. The hospital that tried to improve efficiency. By color-coding everything. A modern hospital wanted fast communication, so they implemented a color-coded system for staff, patients, charts, and even hallways. Great idea, until they expanded it. Suddenly there were 7 types of red, 5 categories of green, and an entire rainbow of blues, each meaning something terrifyingly specific. Doctors walked into the wrong wards, nurses mistook allergy labels for infection warnings, and one hallway perfectly matched the scrubs of a surgeon who accidentally blended into the wall like medical camouflage. After a week of chaos, they rolled it back, deciding human lives should not depend on a guessing game of 50 Shades of Panic. 28. The anti-smoking drone that started wildfires. And here it is, the glorious finale. A tech startup wanted to save forests from campfire smokers by creating a drone that shot out little pellets of water to extinguish illegal fires. Cute, right? Except the pellets didn't break apart. They hit fire pits like tiny ballistic marbles, ricocheted into dry brush, and started more fires than they put out. One drone even overheated mid-flight and nosedived into a hillside, spraying burning battery parts like a pyrotechnic sprinkler. Firefighters begged the company to stop helping. The drones were quietly grounded after becoming the world's first flying arsonists. Which disaster wins the stupidity trophy? Drop your favorite human oops below.